Today we really took advantage of a very, very special day. First off, we got the Ninja ready for a nice ride, not realizing that up north it was going to be a lot colder. We got some great footage to share at the end of this ride from Stefan Hindley in Romania, riding his MT09 in Romania. That's pretty cool right there. And of course, any day you can get out on a bike in the middle of the winter when it's freezing. We had a little break in the weather. Nothing really exceptional, but we did get some days when it went up into the 40s and maybe even a little warmer late in the day, but I like to ride early. So today I got up real early, got out on the open road thinking maybe it would still be nice and warm up north. It was freezing. I learned my lesson the hard way. Today I'm going to take a little break from working on the MT09 wheel and Luciano's gas tank. We've had 2 or 3 days where it's really been creeping up on being nice riding weather, and today's supposed to be the last potential day of riding weather because more snow is coming. So I figured I'd take a break and take Jezebel out for a little ride because I haven't ridden in a while, and you know, it's you might forget how to ride. And there's so many unpredictable things with the kids moving in here, and they're moving furniture into my garage and different things that are going on here. And we're trying to adjust our lifestyle for the next couple months while they're having their house worked on. I hope you've enjoyed watching that little thing progress every day. Every day we go over there. But today, I always have a golden rule. If there's any chance at all you can get a ride in, I like to get a ride in. Because the rest of the time, the shop work, the wheels, and there's plenty of winter days to do that, but there's not that many days to get a nice ride. Today is going to be a nice ride. Oh, I always look at the footage of when I take the bike out of the garage. I do like to see all my handiwork that went into those wheels. I think they really look nice. Now I remember when I did this restoration, how much time I put into those wheels. Patience, and that's the patience I need today. I have a couple more days of the MT09 wheels, and then we'll just be waiting for another warm day to ride. But the wheels really do make the bike, and because the gold paint and all of the stenciling from John Pothier and Thomas Luciano, well, they helped me with that. It's all from the same custom mixed gold. Now, of course, because it's been cold and the bike's been sitting there probably for a couple months since the last time I rode it. Look at the sky today. Beautiful. And it really is warming up nicely here. We're up over 40 already. I always get a kick out of how people underestimate this bike. They're bigger and faster and more expensive bikes, and we go for a ride, and somehow they look in the mirror and, hey, what's he doing here? And the plan is to put the tires from the MT09 on this bike and finish out the mileage on those Michelin 5s. That's going to be our goal. But today, it's a riding day. Let me get the bike pre-flighted and get on the open road. Now, one thing, any bike that's been sitting for any length of time, I always, before I would go on a ride, is check the tire pressure. It takes seconds. I also like to do what I call the pre-flight of the bike. I like to check, just as I'm wiping it off, look for anything that looks like a bolt that might be coming out, or something that just doesn't look right, or something's rusty and needs to be polished or cleaned. And as funny as it sounds, I have this habit from owning a small aeroplane that you better do a pre-flight on it. And it's even more important when you're riding older motorcycles. Now this bike's 12 years old, 13 years old. Well, some of the bikes I'm riding are 40 years old or 35 years old or whatever. A pre-flight is a great investment anytime you're... Well, the weather it's already way over 40 degrees. This may be a banner day here, who knows? In the middle of the winter, wow. And with more snow coming tomorrow or tonight. Now, one final cup of coffee, and while that's brewing, I can just sit out here. I love this. Sit out here and oogle a motorcycle. Coffee and a good bike. And after a nice cup of coffee, just one final look at our wheel. We probably finished that up in one day. One more day, have it in prime. And we are just moving right along on the MT09, but today is one of those rare special days in the middle of the winter to sneak a ride in. So early in this ride, I realized two things. There was a lot of salt on the road, and where there was no salt, the roads were wet, and on the runoffs, there was still snow on the edge of the road. So,
Now most of the lakes up here are still frozen. In fact, out there's some swans on a spot that isn't frozen. Pretty cool. But most of the lakes are still frozen up here. Now up north there's still a lot more snow and the roads are really salty. They really salt the hell out of the roads up here.
now unlike the MT09, this is an older bike that doesn't have traction control, ABS, any real safety features, or a quick shifter. So under these conditions, it's best to be a little conservative.
And our Valentine has saved our bacon twice today so far. Wow. Thank you, Mr. Valentine.
Now, one thing good about this bike that I appreciate, it really gets great mileage. It might even get better mileage than the MT09. I never compared it. But it seems like you ride all day without having to stop for gas. Now, this is one bike that really responded well to having the forks lowered a little bit. And I haven't even gone all the way. I could go more. This is about half of the amount. And yet it made the steering so much quicker and so much more crisp. Now, having that Jivvy bag and having a Valentine radar detector and having all my tools and flat repair stuff in that bag saves any of the anguish you have being away from home like this. Now, this bike has had several different brands of tires on it and several different sizes even. And I'm really curious to see how the Michelin 5s that are about halfway worn out are going to work on this. Now, if you look real close, you see how many wet spots there are. And those wet spots, at the temperature we are here, where things are melting and freezing and melting and freezing, a ride can get very exciting in a hurry as it gets cold.
Now up north here, the temperature really dropped like a lead balloon, boy. I couldn't believe it. Wow. Really got cold in a hurry. As soon as you get up into where the hills are, probably 8-10 degrees colder.
Here's the worst thing. You come around a corner and look at the salt in the road, and you never know when that's coming. And you never know where that salt is going to be. It's just the most uncanny spots you come around. And if you've never gone around a corner real quick and come across a salt, look at the salt in the road here. It gets your full attention. But to me, no matter what, it was just so worth it to get out on a road and get some wind in your face and get cold and be back in the south. So by the end of this day, I was dreaming about Karen and having a warm cup of coffee and getting these cold leathers off and just getting hunkered down by the computer where I can put the electric heater on my.
I need a big cup of coffee. Can you provide that? It's a lot colder up north, baby. See, we had just a little bit of snow melting here. It was in the 40s. It wasn't in the 40s up north, that's for sure.
And as soon as Karen hears the bike pull in the driveway, she knows to hit the coffee button, get that coffee steaming. And I don't mean iced coffee either. I mean as hot as she could possibly make it, even if I burn my. So this turned out to be a really nice break from working on MT09 wheels. Nice break from shoveling snow and chopping ice in a pond. Finally got out on the open road, but it is supposed to snow tonight or tomorrow, so maybe we'll be a couple days from now. I'll be glad I got this ride in. It's amazing though how cold it got up north. As soon as I got up into the hills, the lakes are all frozen, and for some reason it just felt like it was 10 degrees colder. Maybe it was only 9. I don't know. Anyway. Even this kind of a ride today is better than a day on Rikers Island. Now this is the footage from Stefan Hindley, and I hope I'm saying his name right, riding his MT09, which he's already traded in on a track bike or another track bike. And I'm gonna get rid of the voiceover here, and we can listen to the engine as he goes through the turns. This looks like a really nice place to ride, and I really appreciate when people share footage of their rides, and I just can't imagine you couldn't have fun on these roads. Get your friends together and no matter what bike you have. It wouldn't even matter what bike you have. Sport bike, no sport bike. And we have the same problem by us. We have cars that go in a little bit slower, and some of them pull over, some of them don't, but all I can say is what a beautiful, this looks like a great area. Thank you so much for sharing this. I just can't tell you how this is just And it's summer where you are now. So I'm just thinking again, how cool YouTube is to the people that are able to shoot some footage like this from anywhere in the world, send it to here we are in northern New Jersey, and how great it is. People like Michelle and Carl. I'm sure Stefan has seen the ride that Carl led, that Michelle and I went on, or the rides that all Jose leads, or Luciano, or whoever. Doesn't matter. We can share the riding experience in parts of the world you'd never get to go to, or we'd never get to see other people, the enjoyable places you have to ride. This road looks unbelievable. This looks like you could ride this and just turn around and go back. Really nice place to ride. I got another email from Stefan that I wanted to share, but this video is already getting long. And he gave me a list of all the track bikes, Triumphs, Suzukis, and bikes he's ridden on the track. And he loves to ride on the track, of course, and modifications he's made to the bike. And Stefan, now that you're a member of the Romanian A-team of, I don't know if there is such a thing. But anyway, we really welcome you aboard, and thanks so much for sharing this footage. I just wish we could get together for a ride together, or get a track day together. Oh, this road looks beautiful. And who would ever know that the roads were this nice in Romania? I've been all over Europe. I haven't seen any roads like this. This really looks pretty nice. As I'm watching this and trying to give my thoughts from time to time on the road, it kind of reminds me of the roads in our area, 106 in particular, or the road up to Hawk's Nest. And again, I have been in Europe, I've been to Hungary, but most of the time I've spent on tours. I've never really ridden a motorcycle in Europe, so I shouldn't say that. But this is just exceptional. I think this is really a nice road. And it looks like it's low traffic. It looks like there's a lot of other motorcycles enjoying the same experience here. And of course, the mandatory cars that are always going about 40 miles an hour slower than you want to go. And I guess you don't need a radar detector in this part of the world. I don't know. Now, the pictures that Stefan sent, it looked like he had an Akrapovic or some other aftermarket exhaust. This bike definitely does sound a little different than mine does, but I have the stock muffler on mine, and I guess riding on roads like this, where they look low traffic, and I don't see any law enforcement at all here, the exhaust sounds pretty cool, I have to admit. But the problem is in our area, to get to the road like this, you got to drive 30 miles through populated areas where there's every kind of law enforcement. But this looks really like a very special road to ride on. Stefan, that road looks a lot like 106 without the salt. And we had salt today. Anyway, it really was. And thanks again for sharing that footage from Romania. So, Stefan, you're an honorary member of the A-Team now. And boy, I have been all through Europe and all through Poland and Hungary and everything on river cruises and whatnot. And that looked like a cool place to ride. We have our little back roads that we like to ride on here. Hey, you know what I wish I knew about Romania? Do they have radar there? Maybe you don't even need a Valentine radar detector. But anyway, thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm sorry you sold your MT09 for a track bike, but yeah, well, I don't trade bikes in, so I fall in love with them. And I keep them in my harem forever. I guess it's just me. Anyway, I hope you did enjoy the video. We post something up every day. And all I can say is winter's going to be over soon. And thanks so much for watching.